Now the process that is underway, there was a get-together of our international community in Washington, and then ministers got together in Cancun. And what we're working on is what we call an international to-do list. These are the things that we in the international community, it's a handful of things. It need not be 100 things. If it's a handful of 4 or 5 things that we in the international community hope to accomplish between now and the stock taking. And this, of course, is what Hart referred to, the mapping exercise, to which we have had good initial responses, but what we need to do is sit down with each of our partners one by one to complete the mapping exercises, to launch the work of the thematic support consortia. There is one that Steve mentioned in terms of capacity building, everybody involved in capacity building. The idea was that we work together, do our independent work, fundraise independently, deliver independently, but in a common framework. And similarly, with the institutions involved in arresting illegal trade, there is a consortium in the making, and we want to make sure that's operational. Mr. Suvit mentioned that he would personally devote his energies to the cause and help the TRCs launch an implementation program. And I think I'm hoping that Thailand would take the lead when we come to the national to-do list. There's a Delhi workshop end of March, and the whole focus of the Delhi workshop, well, 2 days of the Delhi workshop, because the first day is an India-specific effort, but the whole effort of that is to convert the NTRPs into a to-do list for the first year. What would each country, in an ideal setting, given adequate support, would like to accomplish in that 1 year? And we do that in front of our friends and peers, and in that process hold ourselves accountable. Similarly, we need a strong monitoring framework, because the mutual accountability only works if we are able to monitor and play to each other, show the mirror to each other as to how we have achieved what we wanted to achieve. And therefore, one goal for the March event is to come together, look at the GSP that was done for the GTRP, and see how we can move together on a common monitoring framework, so that not only we reflect on this in our progress through the year, but also when we come to the annual stock taking, we have a solid basis on which to report back on what we've achieved in the 1 year. And of course, throughout this April-December period, we hope that there will be support available from our partners, from GTI, from GTF collaboration to move us forward in this process. So here is my sense of what is immediately at hand. You know, implementation is tough, but having succeeded in bringing our heads of government together in the summit and getting the attention of the globe, we are being watched. And what we achieve in the next 1 year is going to be very, very critical. We have a crisis at our hands as well, so this year is going to be critical. And the immediate tasks that I see, and on which I hope we can work very intensively together up to March for sure. One is that we define very specific country by country customized goals that each country would like to achieve in terms of valuation of tiger landscapes, because that builds a political will, in terms of enhancing national capacity, in actions to make the core areas inviolate and connect the important areas through safe corridors. And on the international side, the donor community, we need to define very specific goals, what we would like to achieve in terms of resource mobilization, the IDA project, the ADB assistance, the GEF, what the partners would like to achieve, what we would like to do specifically on controlling illegal trade, because we have the consortia in place. Now we have to see what actions we will take in the next 1 year, and then what specific action we will take, the Regional Environment Center and other ideas, to make sure that our knowledge sharing process becomes deep and intensive and it really helps the front line. The second area we would like to move forward is to launch the common monitoring systems. And this is an effort we want to accomplish between now and March, so that when we meet in March, we can sign off on an understanding as to how, in different kinds of habitats, in different kinds of situations, what is the recommended system of monitoring and how each country can move forward in that. And also, if we have the national to-do list established by March, then we can also set up a monitoring mechanism by which we can hold ourselves accountable and show to the rest of the world how we are achieving our declared goals. And finally, I think communications play a very important role. What I would like to suggest is that we, in the next 1 year, move forward to what I call goal-oriented communications, communications that try to achieve a specific objective. And one is to sustain political will through better understanding of the value of these landscapes. The second one is to enhance the accountability, mutual accountability process through progress reporting. Every 3 months we can say, look, this is what we wanted to achieve, this is where we are. Everything will not be perfect. We will have reasons to sit back and analyze things that were done well and that could not be done. But again, in terms of communications, we need to get more transparent about what we're trying to achieve and where we are. And finally, we need to have communications that both capture the resources and support of a new constituency, people who are silent and believers in wildlife and nature, and also to discourage the demand for wild tiger parks, because that's in some sense the underlying force. So I guess what I'm leading up to is we have a long-term agenda. We have achieved a lot in the last 1 year. We have a very critical 1 year ahead. And for my way of thinking, we have a very critical 2 months ahead, because by March, we should have, in fact, accomplished the goal of setting implementation on a fast track and then passing it over to the ministerial committee to help us do the implementation. Thank you.